Good afternoon, everyone. Hope things are well. Hope you are doing well. Nice day out in Newcastle, and I feel like it's appropriate to get ourselves out, to get ourselves into the groove, just taking the scenery, taking Newcastle there. And I think it's important to remind all of you watching that there is light at the end of this tunnel because it's been a rough couple of weeks for Newcastle there. Of course, on the pitch, it's been a bit of a nightmare heading into this cup final, and behind the scenes, Hall out, Gordon out, and now Botman is officially out. And that's before we even played West Ham. So we've got that worry kicking in now where Newcastle are missing big players. How can they get past Liverpool? And I want to come out with this video just to state straight away, regardless of what happens in the Carabao Cup final, regardless of what happens towards the back end of this season, just remember Newcastle United now looks so much better than we did last year, looks so much better than we did 2 years ago. And we are finally just getting these chains and these shackles taken off us, and in the summer window we can finally invest in players. And of course, commercially and in the sponsorship market, Newcastle United is a more lucrative club, and I feel like we're waiting out for this in particular, and we'll speak a bit about it shortly. But first off, from me, hello there, hope things are well. Make sure I get down there, hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the content. I'm heading down to London on Saturday, so plenty of content, of course, surrounding that cup final and the West Ham game, all coming out in this channel. So please do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content. We've got a lot of videos planned, about a dozen videos or so. So stick around and let me know your opinions on this one. Now, I think the easy point to make, and the point that I'm not going to make myself, and I think in social media, and you always hear from the likes of Downey, is remember where Newcastle were 4 years ago. I'm not going to do it. I don't need to remind you where Newcastle were 4 years ago. We all know what Newcastle were like on the match. Actually, do I need to tread over that ground again? I don't think so. I'm not going to say remember where Newcastle were 4 years ago. I'm going to say look where Newcastle are going to be in that summer window. Look where Newcastle are going to be in a couple of years' time. And I feel like this park is the ideal scenario to be making this video today, because I reckon the new St James's Park is what Newcastle is waiting on this month. So in March now, of course, Downey, our club, will sit down with our board, our fan advisory board. They're going to sit down with them and they're going to talk about this. And I don't think there'll be any other solution. I reckon Newcastle are nailed on, and I'm convinced to say that Newcastle United will be moving from there to here. And can any fan complain about that? We're talking about a minimal distance change, and that was, I guess, my real concern regards to a new stadium. If we were to leave the city centre, that one would hurt a lot. That one would hurt quite a bit. So the fact that you're talking just here, I think it's an absolute no-brainer for Newcastle. And on the record, Newcastle United have stated that with a brand new stadium, if Newcastle was to have a brand new stadium, our revenue would double. It would straight up double. And that's a no-brainer. It's keeping us back, the revenue side of things now. I feel like a fair comparison to compare Newcastle to is Tottenham. Look at where Tottenham have been over the last 10 years, and look at what they've been able to do with a brand new stadium. Now, I know this season, when you look at their team, they've underperformed quite a lot. But look at the revenue side of things. Look at how much money they've spent on transfers. Look at the events they've had on at their new stadium. Look at the revenue they're coming in, and just compare Tottenham to Newcastle in terms of who gets more money. Tottenham is destroying Newcastle in that market. They are so far ahead of Newcastle in every single possible avenue in terms of money, sponsorships and revenue. And a new stadium is what is holding Newcastle. That's exactly what we do need. And I don't want to be that guy, because I absolutely love St James's Park. But Newcastle needs more corporate seats. They need more money where they're going to get all of these different individual stadium sponsors coming in, and you just can't do that with our stadium now. They need a brand new stadium to do that, and they need, I guess, a fresh link of paint from the PIF to just come in and just clean everything up. But for a new stadium, that's the first major thing that I reckon this month I'm willing to bet. After the cup final, we have an international break. That's 2 weeks for Newcastle to potentially get any form of announcement sorted. I reckon in those 2 weeks international break, I think we'll hear something. I don't know if it'll be directly from the club or maybe from a journalist, but I reckon something big about the new St James's Park will come out this month, and I think you guys will be eagerly awaiting that. But I think this is the month where we'll finally find out the real confirmation from Newcastle. But I'm willing to bank everything I've got. It'll be, I think they'll just move the stadium to Leeds Park. So we'll find out about that this month. But the obvious part in terms of what is holding Newcastle back on the pitch, transfers. We all know it. Newcastle haven't spent anything in 2 years. They've actually sold assets. So Minters went, Anderson's went, Lloyd Kelly's went. There's a couple of our little fringe players in there. But Newcastle has basically got a worse squad that we did 2 years ago. All of our best players, we had 2 years. It's just mental when you think about it. It's just testament to how good our team is. It's testament to how good of a manager Eddie Howe is, because despite the fact we haven't improved the squad in 2 years, we're still on target. We've still got a chance of Champions League football. We're still in a cup final. And just imagine when we can buy players, which will happen this window, just imagine where Newcastle are going to get to, because that's, of course, in a footballing sense, is what's keeping Newcastle back. Look at all the teams around us in the league table. Look at the players they brought in over the last 2 years. Newcastle are just so far behind them in that respect. And we just aren't in the league table. We are well and truly in there. So even in a worst case scenario, if Newcastle was to implode in the back end this season, our profits and our official news when Newcastle's revenue has went up by 28%. Again, Newcastle's allowed to spend players. That's before you even look at the fact that like Lloyd Kelly, free player brought in, got well over £20 million from Juventus. Again, Newcastle sort well. Newcastle have got money there. They've got the player sales sorted. They don't need to deal with this PSR rubbish this summer. They can just go out there and be confident. And of course, with European football, if we were to get some form of it, again, Newcastle, I think it'll be all right. And of course, the short-term basis, obviously our fans' concern at the minute is towards the cup final. Again, you watched Liverpool yesterday against PSG. They're beatable. They are beatable. I know Liverpool won the game. It was just a FIFA match. I mean, Liverpool got battered for 90 minutes and then snatched it at the end. And Alisson, world-class performance. I mean, let's be honest. I've watched the Konate challenge on Barcola. For me, Liverpool were extremely lucky yesterday. Konate should have been sent off in that game. And I'm hoping that this isn't a sign of things to come towards that cup final. But they got away with one. Liverpool. Konate should be missing that final, but he's not, because VAR has looked at it and didn't deem it to be a foul. Even though, in my opinion, I think Konate is a very lucky man to stay on the pitch yesterday. Liverpool won the game, but that is exactly what we as Newcastle wanted from that game yesterday. We wanted Liverpool to be tested. We wanted Liverpool to be put under pressure. And ideally, in our point of view, I would have wanted it to either be a 0-0 scoreline or 1 or 2-0 PSG. But 1-0 Liverpool's not a convincing scoreline. They have to put their best team out at Anfield next week. PSG, again, are top quality. They were very good yesterday. They'll go to Anfield and they'll play with no fear. And I reckon Liverpool, I said this yesterday, but I'm not fully convinced coming out of these two games they'll be unscathed. I reckon they might pick up an injury or they might pick up a suspension. I'm willing to bet that one of their players will be missing that final. And I can't bank on it because we just don't know yet. But again, Newcastle should be confident watching that. PSG can do it. Attack. Why can't Newcastle attack? And I guess in terms of injuries, I know we had some horrific ones. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, Botman, Hall and Gordon are massive misses. But it's not Isak and it's not Tonali and it's not Bruno. It could be worse. I don't want to be that guy, but there could have been worse players. It could have been Isak. Isak, if he's injured, I mean, I can't even give you any form of positivity if he's injured, but he's not. Isak's a real killer. Watch him against Van Dijk. Isak versus Van Dijk in a one-on-one situation. Van Dijk hates him. It's one of Van Dijk's worst strikers to be up against. Any quick striker that can turn quickly, can get around the centre, Van Dijk knows he's in trouble. And that's a real piece of play that Newcastle was missing down at Anfield. And again, with Isak playing, you know what, anything can happen with a player of his quality. And that's exactly why Newcastle has been doing so well over the last 2 years, despite spending absolutely nothing. And despite Newcastle still being behind in terms of the revenue. But that all changes this summer. I want to kind of make a video just to remind everyone that things have been tough. Things may continue to be tough. We may have an awful final. We may have an awful end of the season. I can't promise you anything. I can't guarantee anything. But Newcastle will come out of this season looking better for next season. I know it's a bit of maybe not quite the comment people wanted to hear, but again, Newcastle are restricted. You've got to look at the reality. You've got to look at the facts. Newcastle are heavily restricted. We aren't as restricted next season. It's that simple. And again, new stadium, once we get that approved, once we get that sorted out, that's what I reckon Newcastle is really needing. I think once Newcastle brings that in, they will shoot off. They will just take off straight away. And that'll be exciting. I mean, that will be exciting. So what I kind of come up with a video just to let you all know. Expect things to change. Expect Newcastle to pick on after this final. Once that national break will come back, there'll be a massive push towards the end of the season. Things have been tough. It's been a rough couple of months. I won't deny it, and I can't see otherwise. But Newcastle will have a big transfer window. They'll bring top-level players in. They will improve on the squad that we haven't improved on in years. They'll have a better team, and they'll be much better off for it. Newcastle are also not a selling club. We've got no interest in selling your Sykes, your Gordons, your Brunos, your Tonales, unless there's an offer that is too good to turn down coming in. Newcastle will also say no. They also won't sell players up. And it's a real good mindset, a real good backbone that the club seems to have, that even though haven't done anything in terms of transfers, they've kept the core of the team. The core is still together. And I'm willing to bet as long as Newcastle's got some form of European football, I can't stress the importance of that. As long as there's even Conference League, even if it's Conference League, as long as Newcastle have that going into next season, I still think your top level players will stick around for a year. They'll still want to be a part of it and they'll still give it a go. And Newcastle then wants to start bringing players in. Our top players will be happy. They will be happy. I haven't got any real concern. My only real concern, again, is just probably the injury side of things. I mean, Botman's a massive problem. I think this season he's missed, but 70% of the games or something, which is a lot, and it's going to continue to go up because of his long-term issue now. So, yeah, I guess my concerns are more towards individual players. But this club's looking good. We are looking good. I want to kind of just remind you all that we are good. So please do obviously take some positivity away from this video. It may be a tough couple of weeks and they may continue to be tough, but things will get better. So stick with us. Big cup final next week. You know, believe in Newcastle. Listen, Liverpool got pushed to the limit yesterday and they were very fortunate to win the game. So again, they've got a lot of work to do in the second leg next week. And Newcastle can beat that. That's not unstoppable. We can't beat that. We can't take it to them. We just got to believe and we've got to stick to it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Newcastle's revenue has continued to shoot back up. So we're looking good. We'll continue to look good. And I'm sure in this window, when it comes up in the summer, we'll spend well and we'll spend good as well. So take care. We will see you all in the next one.